Hey, what's up, family? Yeah, we're gonna do this video on something that all y'all can relate to. You heard it many times before from other people. Even you've said it many times yourself. And that's the title of this one is gonna be called How Time Flies. We've heard that so many times before, right? When there's so many things you need to get done, that must get done, you go, man, where did the time go, right? And you go, man, time flies by so quick. You may be thinking it's at one moment during the calendar year or years, and you don't realize just how much time has went by. So that's why we're gonna title it just that, How Time Flies. And that's gonna be the word of the day as well, idiom. Now, if you look up the word idiom, it's actually spelled just like the word idiot. I-D-I-O-T, idiot, but just get rid of the T and put an M. So it's I-D-I-O-M. So what is idiom? Idiom touches on this video, how time flies. Now, if you look up the actual word idiom, it will confuse the mess out of you. And that's another point I want to make in this. Because if you look up the actual word, let me see if I can remember it. The actual definition for the word idiom, it means a group of words established by usage as having a meaning, but not deducible from those of the actual individual word. Now tell me that don't confuse the heck out of you. A group of words established by usage. Damn, I'm messing up. That's how crazy it is. A group of words established by usage of having a meaning, but not deducible from those of the actual individual word. Isn't that confusing? You go, have the average little kid look up the word idiom. They wouldn't know what that definition means. Well, let me give you a real simple definition for it. It simply means an expression. That's all it means. Idiom, it's an expression, a figure of speech, a statement that has a meaning behind it. You may say a simple statement that everybody's familiar with, and you go, it's a meaning behind that. So the actual definition will confuse you. But let's get on to the point. I thought I'd make that very relevant because, as I always say, give you a word of the day. But now I give you a word of the day to make you think about it. Think about how somebody try to sound so intelligent using certain words, because they know if you look up that word idiom, you'll still be confused when it simply means an expression, a figure of speech. But anyway, let's get on to it. How time flies. I'm gonna give you an exact example of how time flies, and a lot of us can identify with this story that happened to me, and yes, it happened to you. I remember one time I ran into a buddy of mine many years ago while I'm walking uptown and stuff, right? And I ran into an old acquaintance. I haven't seen this guy in a long time, many years. Let's say like 15, 20 years I ain't seen this guy. So when I seen him, I was actually happy. I was like, oh, wow, hey, man, how you been, man? How's everything, man? Wow, I ain't seen you about 15, 20 years. How you been, man? Yo, you don't stay in the city no more? Where you live at now? You got kids? You got married? Did you move out of state? That type of conversation, right? So we had a nice conversation. The point I'm making, watch you relate to this. You've done this exact thing. So this whole conversation I'm having with him, right? Because I ain't seen him in so long. Next thing you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months go by since I've seen that guy. Now, I've ran into one of his family members somewhere, right? And I'm chatting with his family member and I'm saying, hey, what's going on, man? How you been? Man, I ain't seen Rob in a while, man. Last time I seen Rob, man, it was I think last time I seen Rob was about 6 months ago, man. We was up on Broad Street. We was talking for a while, man. He had me cracking up, man. It was good to see him, man. How he been, though? And as I'm saying this to the guy, I ain't seen Rob in about 6 months. Last time I seen him, we was both on Broad Street talking 6 months ago. Know what his family members say to me? With their head twisted like 6 months ago. Yo, nah, trust me, you didn't see him 6 months ago. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm telling you. I mean, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 5, maybe it was 7 months ago, but it was a couple of months ago. It wasn't that long ago. And then the person say to me, nah, trust me when I tell you, you did not see him no 6, 7. You didn't even see him a year ago. I'm like, what? I'm telling you, man, it was not too long ago. And he's like, yo, man, Rob, he been locked up for the past 3 years, man. I'm telling you, you ain't seen him. Yo, he's been in jail for 3 years, man. There's no way you seen him. And see, right back to what's the word of the day? Idiom, a figure of speech, an expression, how time flies. And when the guy says that to me, man, he's been in jail for 3 years. I'm like, what? It felt like it was only 6 months ago that I was chatting with this guy. Now his brother or cousin, whoever's telling me he's been locked up for 3 years, that's like hard to fathom. You know what I'm saying? What's the title of the video? How Time Flies. I'm thinking it was 6 months ago. And how about that very same story a lot of us been to? It's even more dramatic than that. You might have thought you was chatting with somebody only 6 months ago, just like that dude. And then when you see their family member and you tell them how I was happy talking, you talk to their family member 6 months ago and they telling you, no, it couldn't have been 6 months ago. This is worse than them in jail because they telling you, yo, he been dead 4 years now. Or she been dead 4 years now, man. We buried them 4 years ago. And you like, wow, you gotta be kidding me. How time flies. You thought you spoke to that person 7 months ago, but time go by so quick. You didn't even realize it's been 4 years. We all know how when you at that job that you hate, right? A lot of people, unfortunately, working them jobs they can't stand. And all day you're looking at the clock. You're looking at the clock. You're looking at the clock. And it seemed like the clock not even moving. And you done 5 different assignments. And you like, man, that clock didn't even move. Because you study looking at the clock. So like the title of the video, How Time Flies. But in this case, time not moving, it seems like. And then you get another co-worker and go, man, it's time to clock out already. Man, it seems like the time just went by so quick. And you're like, man, this guy is so damn happy all the time. How time flies. We all been through that one time or another. Like I said, sometimes we think it was only yesterday. And it's been way longer than that. How time flies. I remember I watched an old movie called The GOAT about the great basketball player when he started getting high. He started getting high on that crack cocaine around that crack epidemic time. He was getting high so much, 3-4 years had passed by. And now when he figured he'd try to go back to school and he spoke to the family, he said, I'm gonna go back to school. I only missed 1 semester. And they said, what are you talking about? He said, I might have missed 2 semesters, that's it, but I'm gonna go back. He's been high for the past 3-4 years in a row. He didn't realize 4 years went by and you was on the street getting high every day. And here you is talking about, I only missed a semester. When they told him what year it is, he was like, y'all lying. You lying, it ain't been no 4 years. It has not been no 4 years. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. It ain't been 4 years. See, it messed him up. But see, that was a shock he needed. You got to get your stuff together. You done wasted so much time. How time flies, an idiom. Remember, it's just an expression, a figure of speech, a statement that we can all relate to that has meaning behind it. How time flies. Anything you want to add to this, man?
I just know that, just get with the times.
Yeah,
statement. Really?
I'm going to give a statement you said many times before. Time waits on nobody.
Exactly.
You've always said that.
Oh,
and you're
yes.
right. Before you know it, for a lot of y'all out there, that dream, that passion, that inspiration, whatever it is, you said you was going to start your own business. You said you was going to do this or do that. Do it.
Yeah, get
Stop
that.
putting it off for tomorrow. Because before you know it, it's been past tomorrow. It's been past next week, next month, next year, next decade. And you still talking about tomorrow. Time flies. Look at all our family members who we keep putting off. Saying, we all know grandma's sick. We know granddaddy's sick. Uncle Joe's sick or whoever the case, right? And we all say, you got that one family member in the family says, hey man, let's get some life insurance on him. And everybody keeps saying, oh man, we don't want to talk about that. Man, let's stop talking about acting as if he's dead already. No, it ain't got nothing to do with acting like he's dead. We love him. We love her. We just want to be prepared. But everybody keep putting it off. Do it tomorrow. What's the title of the video? How time flies. You keep putting it off. And before you know it, one day you go call Uncle Joe, Aunt Mary, or whatever the case. You call them, or other family members call, and they say, hey, she passed away. Or he passed away. Guess what? Now what everybody in the family gonna say? Man, we kept saying we was gonna get the life insurance. Man, we didn't never do it. We kept saying we was gonna do it. Man, we should have did it. Yeah, the idiom. Idiom sounds like idiot. Idiom. It was an expression. Y'all kept saying you was gonna do it, but how time flies. And before you know it, it's too late now. So go ahead and get that life insurance. Go ahead and follow that dream or that aspiration you got to start your own business or do what it is that inspires you to really do it. But stop putting it off for tomorrow because you just don't realize how time flies. And like my wife always been saying, time waits on nobody. Before you know it, you like, man, how the time fly? We all heard them statements before, right? Like, wow, I can't believe how time has fly. Man, I can't believe it. You telling me that much time went by? How did time fly? Wow, this is amazing how much time went by. See, we've heard those same statements before. So remember, the idiom is how time flies. It's just an expression. That's what the idiom, the definition for idiom means, how time flies. You look up the actual definition, remember, it's a group of words established by usage as having a meaning, but not deducible by the individual word. That's confusing. Erase all that nonsense. The word idiom, the definition simply means an expression, a figure of speech, a statement that we can all relate to and understand. It has a meaning behind it. You don't gotta go through all that stuff. It's an expression that we can relate to. Oh, I know what that means. How time flies. You're right. So stop wasting time, because time waits on no one. Before you know it, it's tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade. And you wasted so much time. Get busy. Peace.